Hello everyone. How is everybody today? Happy Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, I think it's Wednesday. We'll go with that. Hope you guys are all having a wonderful day today. As you can see, I am taking my polish off because I am going to be working on myself today. I'm going to be doing a demo of our gel manicure system. And we've had so many questions about our nail rescue patches that people are asking, can you use these with your gels? And the answer is, short answer is yes. Longer answer is, I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do that today. So let me go ahead and pull my chat up here, and then we will go ahead and get started on our demo in just a second here. All right. And Jennifer says, I thought it was Tuesday. I hope it's not Tuesday because I'm in the wrong place if it's Tuesday today. But you guys, welcome in everybody. We're gonna go ahead and get started. And I just took my polish off my nails. And you guys, you can actually see I've got almost a little chunk right out of the center of my nail. So I'm gonna put a quick repair patch on that. And then we're gonna do a gel manicure service on the rest of my nails. Well, on all of my nails here. So to get started, I always like to start by pushing back the cuticles. And today I'm going to be using our magic wand. This is a great tool. It's got that cuticle pusher on one end, and then it's got that pinching tool for when you're working with artificial nails, but we're not going to be using that today. We're just going to be using that cuticle pusher and get those cuticles pushed back, get those cleaned up. Now, if you're working on an actual client, not just yourself, but on an actual client, this is a good time to go through and do a little consultation with your client. Talk to them about, what colors they want to work or want to wear, any designs or anything that they want to wear on their nails today. So again, it's a good time to kind of multitask. So get those cuticles pushed back. And you guys, I'm only going to be doing one hand for you today. It's going to be a little too complicated for me to do both hands. So we're just going to do one hand for you and show you that. Now you guys, you see how quick and easy pushing back my cuticles are? It really shouldn't take you very long. Now, yes, my cuticles are in pretty good shape, but you don't have to worry about trying to go through and get everything perfect. I know you've got that little edge there with your magic wand that you can use if you do need to kind of loosen up any cuticle that may be stuck to that nail, but you don't have to spend a ton of time because we're going to go through with our electric file and we're going to prep the nails with the electric file. Now, normally you guys see me use the sanding band for my enhancement prep, and I am going to use that in just a second, but a lot of times, especially when I'm doing my gel manicures, I like to use our let me think what this is called, our diamond cuticle square bit. I can never remember all those words, you guys. Diamond cuticle square bit. So this is what I'm going to use right up around my cuticles to really get up in there and really get that, that dead cuticle growth cleaned off the nail. So I'm going to turn my E-file here to about 5,000 RPMs. And I'm just going to work very gently. Now, you guys, this is a great bit for using. You can use it on the natural nail. You can use it up around the cuticle area. Even on that side, I'm actually using a good amount of pressure here. You guys, you'll never want to use this much pressure on your natural nails. But you can see that this is a very gentle bit. It's not going to cut skin. It's not going to damage or hurt or anything like that. It's just going to go through and prep that cuticle area. Now you're going to really see all of that dead protein growth come right off that nail. And I'm just working in short little motions here. So almost a circular motion with that bit in just kind of those short circular motions. And notice how I do pull that skin away. See, if you kind of take a look right up here in this corner area, so right up in here, if I look at this cuticle just like this and I come through there, it looks like I have it prepped, but when I pull that skin away, you guys, do you see how that cuticle is just stuck right down on there? You really want to make sure and get all the way down into those sidewalls. So when you're working on a client or yourself, it's always important to pull that skin away, pull that skin down along those sides so that you can get all the way back up into that corner and all the way back into those sides. So we're going to come right down here, pulling that skin away, right down into the corner, and see how quick and easy that bit cleaned up that little bit of cuticle that was stuck on the nail. It's super important to get that cuticle cleaned up really, really well, because if you have any of those last little bits of protein growth still stuck on the nail, that gel polish is not going to adhere, or really anything that you put over the top of that. If you were working with acrylic or hard gel, or even just regular polish, if you still have that cuticle stuck on the nail, you're not going to get great adhesion. Your product is going to adhere to that cuticle, but that cuticle, or that dead skin actually, is going to slough right off. So it's going to come off of that nail, and it's going to cause your product to lift and separate. So this is why it's really important to make sure that you are getting those cuticles cleaned up really well. Now you guys, you're going to see that I may have a few little hangnails, and I actually wait until I'm done with my application, unless there's a hangnail or something that's really poking out. But I wait until the end of my application to go through and trim any cuticles. I don't like to go through and completely cut all the way around that skin. I don't need to. There's no need to trim off all of that, what's called the eponychium. I don't want to trim all of that off. There's no need to, and you actually don't want to, because that skin, that eponychium, is sealing your nail to, basically the skin to the nail, so that it doesn't allow any germs or bacteria or anything into that skin or under the skin. So make sure that if you do have any little hangnails or anything, you can wait until you're done with your service to clean those up. And you guys, I'm kind of working in some really strange angles here, but on an actual client, you're not going to be working in these weird angles. But that was our diamond cuticle square bit that I was using right around that cuticle area. Now I will switch to my sanding band to prep the rest of the nail. Now, could you use that diamond cuticle square bit to prep the surface of the nail? Yes, you could actually use that on that whole nail bed to prep that surface, but I actually like how the sanding band feels when I'm working over that whole natural nail. So personally, I feel like it's a little bit of a smoother, kind of a, I don't know, just a smoother feel to it. So that's why I like to switch to my sanding bands, and I always grab a brand new one, whether I'm working on myself, whether I'm working on my clients. Doesn't matter who I'm working on, always grab a brand new one, so that way you're not using that dull sanding band. Okay, now on my nails, you guys, I'm going to show you here, these sanding bands do come pre-beveled, so they don't have that really sharp edge to them. But if you feel like maybe you need to soften up that edge, if you're working maybe on a little bit more of a delicate cuticle, you can take that sanding band and you can just give it a quick tap on your hand file, just do a quick 1, 2, 3, and that'll soften up that edge a little bit, so you don't have to worry too much. Okay, but again, they are pre-beveled, so I generally don't do that. Unless I've got a client that is a little bit more sensitive or has a little bit more delicate cuticles. Okay, all right, so we're just going to go through one more time. Oops, sorry, you guys. Let me come back out here a little. That might be a little bit better. But again, I just came one more time right around that cuticle area, and then I'm just going to gently feather that bit all the way through to just gently remove the shine from the whole nail using, I'm coming a little bit closer. You guys want to see this up close and personal, right? So using the base of my bit to come down those sides if I need to, top part of my bit to come down the other side, and then we'll just go through and do that same prep on all of the nails. Now, because I already used that diamond cuticle square bit around that cuticle area, I'm not going to worry too much about getting this sanding band right up into that cuticle area. If I didn't use the diamond cuticle square bit, then I would be paying a little bit more attention and trying to get really, really close up into that cuticle area. But combination of these two bits is really going to do a great job to prep those natural nails. Now, really what we're doing when we're prepping the nails is we're creating just a little bit of texture because gel and gel polish don't like to stick to a smooth and shiny surface. And we're also breaking up the oils in the surface of the nail. Now this nail, I actually have a little bit of product still left on there from my gels, but we're just going to work right over that. So again, just gently creating a little bit of texture and breaking up the oils on the surface of the nail. So just a quick, easy prep. Your prep really shouldn't take you more than, I would say, 3 to 5 minutes at the very most. If you're taking any longer than that, chances are you're probably actually doing things twice. You're probably doing two things that are, doing things that you don't need to do. So just don't overthink it, you guys. Sometimes I think we overthink things and we think that, oh, well, maybe I worked too fast and I didn't properly prep my nails. You guys, if you got that cuticle area cleaned up, you've got the shine removed from the whole nail, that's all you need to do. So again, don't overthink it. Just go through, clean up your cuticle area, remove the shine, and you're good to go. So that's really all that I need to do. Now, at this point, we are going to dust off the nails. And, oh, you guys, I didn't shape my nails, did I? I need to shape my nails. I kind of got ahead of myself there. So you could use a couple of different things. We've got our new glass file. So if you want to use your glass file, this is an absolutely amazing file you can use to shape up those nails, get a nice smooth edge on there. If you need to shorten them up, you can shorten them up. If you need to clip them a little bit shorter, you can do that. Now, I did shape my nails yesterday, so they don't need a ton of shaping, but just maybe a little bit of a cleanup. So again, just coming underneath those edges, cleaning up my edge, and we'll go through. And you guys, I'm actually going to grab my 180 file buffer, okay? I'm really going to just use the file side, but you can use either that diamond file, or diamond, I'm thinking diamond cuticle square bit. You can use either the glass file, you can use a 180 file, whichever one is going to work better for you. And for me today on camera, it's just a little bit easier to hold on to that longer file. But normally if I were just doing my own nails here, I actually really like the glass file. It's a great file. It's got a great edge to it. It's going to take down anything, any length if you need to. But just for demo's sake here today, it's just going to be a little bit easier for me to hold the longer file. All right, so just shaping up my nails a little bit and cleaning those up. All right, you guys, if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and post those in the chat. I am kind of trying to keep an eye on the chat, but otherwise we do have a great moderator here that can also help answer your questions. But any of the products that I'm using today, these are all Young Nails. So everything that I'm using can be found on our website at youngnails.com. So make sure that you check that out. We actually do have our back to school sale going on right now. So check out all the goodies that are on sale. The nail rescue patches that I'm going to be using today and showing you guys those are part of a bundle deal. So make sure to check that out. Now this is the one that I have a little bit of a kind of a break in the nail, a little bit of a crack in the nail. So I'm actually not going to shape up that free edge too much. I'm going to clean up my corners here and just kind of round that out a little bit. But I'm not going to go all the way through because I actually don't want to take off any more length of this nail. I want to salvage as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to show you guys how to fix that here in just a second. All right, so we've got my nails shaped up and I think we are about good. Okay, now we're going to go through, we're going to dust off the nails, get all of that dust off of there. And you guys notice that as I'm brushing the nails, I brush kind of in the direction that the nail grows. I don't brush across the surface of the nail because brushing across is actually going to push that dust down into those sidewalls, down into those corners. So I brush with the length of the nail to pull all of that dust out of those sidewalls. And then I do kind of one last swipe up because what that does is if I push down, if I brush downward, that actually pushes that cuticle back down. If I brush backwards, it almost gets that cuticle to stand back up and it just pushes it up just a little bit more so that I can tuck my polish brush right up underneath there. So quick little thing that is going to help to make your life much easier. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and cleanse our nail. And I'm going to put my polish remover away. I don't need that anymore. But what I'm going to use to cleanse my nail is Swipe. So Swipe is, just like I said, it's our cleanser. I'm going to pump a little bit of that onto my manicure brush. Now you could use one of the lint-free wipes and you could pump that on there and you could go in and you could scrub the nails like that. But I personally like to just pump a little bit of that onto my brush, and this way I can go through and I can scrub those nails clean, and any of those last little bits of dust that might still be on the nail are going to come off with Swipe when you're brushing like this. Okay. Somebody's asking, can you show us how to shape a nail in acrylic, use core? You guys, we have over 3,000 videos here for you on our YouTube channel. So I know we've got a bunch of videos using the core products. So if you need more education on that, definitely check out the rest of our channel here. And make sure to subscribe, you guys. Make sure to join the community here. Make sure to get all of the free education that we offer. Because who doesn't want free education, right? Okay. So our nails are clean. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer for a couple of them to dry. I can see there's a little bit of that Swipe still down. You can kind of see down in the corners here, still down on those edges. So I'm going to wait just a little bit longer for those to dry. If it doesn't dry fairly quickly, I could take my lint-free wipe and I could just go and absorb a little bit more of that Swipe just to make sure that the nail is dry. I want to make sure the nail is dry before I put my Protein Bond on. And Protein Bond is our bonder. So this is what is going to really make our gel polish adhere well. Now, a couple of different things that I want to show you guys with this. When you're working with Protein Bond and your gel polish, with your ManiQ gel polish, depending on how you plan to maintain these nails is going to affect how you apply your Protein Bond. If you are somebody who prefers to soak off the nails, soak off the enhancements, when you do your color changes, all you want to do is apply your Protein Bond at the free edge. Your gel polish is going to adhere to the rest of the nail just fine, but having that little bit of Protein Bond right at that free edge is going to help to give you a better seal right around the edge, right where you need a little bit more of that durability and a little bit better adhesion. Because with our nails, we're going to, we do have a little bit of wear and tear. So having that extra layer of Protein Bond is really going to, it's going to work like a double-sided tape. So it's going to really adhere your product to your natural nail. Now, if I were somebody, and I am, somebody that is going to maintain these by filing your gel polish off, then I would go through and I would put a coat of the Protein Bond on the whole nail rather than just that free edge. Okay, and you guys, I'm actually going to do I'm going to do just the solid coat on the one nail because I am actually going to be removing these to do another demo for you guys another day. So normally on myself, I would apply the Protein Bond on the whole nail. So that way when I go into my base coat is going to adhere all the way through this nail. And when I go to change out my color, I would only file off the color and I would leave the base layer on there. So the base layer is going to have that Protein Bond on the whole nail all the way bonded through. Again, if you're going to be soaking the nails off, apply your Protein Bond just at that free edge area, and that's going to help to allow your product to soak off a lot easier in the long run. Okay, so again, depending on how you plan on maintaining or removing these is how you're going to apply your Protein Bond. So if you're going to soak off, just apply Protein Bond at the free edge where you need a little bit more durability. If you're going to file off your color, apply to the whole nail so your base always has a great bond to it. Okay? All right, let's talk about our nail rescue patches. So these are an amazing product. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's like a fiberglass patch. It's, back from the 70s, 80s, 90s, we used to do fiberglass. You guys, these are a polyurethane patch. And so they're not fiberglass. They are a lot more durable. So what I'm going to do, actually, you guys, I forgot to grab my tweezers here. So let me grab my tweezers. So I'm just going to take one of these patches. Now, normally I would use these patches if, say, I had a crack in my nail going across the nail like this, or if I have, a nail that maybe split all the way down into that stress area and things like that. These are really going to help to seal that crack together. So I know you guys, it's hard to see these on here because they are clear, but I'm going to peel one of them off, grab the little tab, peel one of those off, and then, where's my nail here? All right. Then I'm going to just set that down right over whatever's cracked. So on this nail here, I'm actually going to hang on there. Oh, you guys, it's hard to do this one-handed, but we're going to make it work. So I'm going to hold that right on there. I'm going to just touch that, the patch. I'm going to really press that down onto the nail. Get that to secure right down on the nail. If you feel like you need to, you can use your tweezers. If you have a silicone tool, you can use that silicone tool, but really make sure that gets pressed down onto that nail, sealed all the way around the edge, okay? This is going to really ensure that that cracked nail is going to stay together. Now you're probably wondering, what the heck do I do with this last little bit that's on the free edge? I'm going to make sure that that's completely sealed down to the nail first. Then I'm going to grab my glass file, and I'm going to just take that glass file, I'm going to file downward right across that end, and it's basically going to cut off the last little bits of that patch. So it's going to just release them from the end, and maybe just a little bit more right around there. All right, look at that. There we go. That last little bit. So this is going to help to protect that little cracked area that I have on my nail. I am going to go through, just gently dust off that little bit of edge, and I have still just a tiny little bit right on there. And I think we're going to be okay. Let me dust that off one more time. Now you guys, this little part that's hanging here, that's right over that area that is broken away. So I don't want to use too much pressure with my file, so I'm actually going to grab my nippers, and I'm just going to nip that little bit of a frayed edge right off. That way that patch is going to stay right in that little area that was cracked. So it's just kind of filling in that space. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about this little bit of frayed free edge. I'm actually going to go ahead and file that and shape that once I do have my gel polish on. But for now, I think we're going to leave that as it is, okay? I'm going to go back through with one more coat of my protein bond over the patch, just to make sure that the patch does stay adhered really well to my gel polish. Okay, just kind of sealing that in there. All right. So somebody says, so much easier than fiberglass. Yes, you guys, I'm an old school nail tech too. I've been doing nails for too many years here. Not too many, a lot of years. We'll say a lot of years. And I do remember the old school fiberglass. I'm sure there probably are products out there still today, but this is so much easier than a fiberglass application, you guys. So much easier. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our base coat. So we're going to start with just a nice thin application of our base coat. Now, if you feel like you need a little bit more durability, you could actually apply a couple of different options here. First, I'm just going to go through and apply my base coat on all 5 nails, and then we're going to cure them. Now, if you feel like you needed a little bit more durability, or if you feel like you need a little bit more thickness to the nail, you could actually do a couple of coats of your base coat, or you could do a couple of coats or 1 or 2 coats of your fiber gel. That's going to work great as a base coat for your gel manicures as well. So whatever you feel like you need to do, you can definitely do that. But you can go ahead and you can layer in. If you need a little bit more durability, go ahead and add an extra layer. But for today, I think I'll be good with just 1 coat of our base coat. And you guys, the colors and products that I'm using today, this is from our ManiQ collection. So ManiQ is our 3-step collection. All right, you guys, I've got base coat on all 5 nails here. I'm going to get this into the light, and I'm going to freeze this into place for 30 seconds. And you guys, again, like I was saying, I'm using our ManiQ 3-step collection. we'd also have, you guys, I'm trying to grab a polish here. We also have our one-step collection. So the one step, you don't need a base or a top coat. You can skip those steps. So you can just polish on 2 coats of your color with the one step, and it's going to dry to a nice high shine finish. Again, you don't need a base coat. Now, personally, I still like to use a base coat when I'm using the one step because I personally do file off my gel polishes. I don't soak them off. So with that, I like to have that extra layer of base coat underneath. Sometimes if you are using the one step, it's gonna, if you need a little bit more durability, you could add that base coat for a little bit of extra durability. So just a couple of options for you there. All right, you guys, let me know. I want you guys to let me know in the chat, what color should I do? Because I'm thinking I chose a couple of colors here. So I like Aquamarine. Aquamarine's actually one of my favorite colors. So I've got Aquamarine, which is a fun, it's still summer. I'm still feeling the summer vibes here today. Otherwise, we have Baby Royal, which is, I call it a bright lavender or a bright lilac, not lavender, bright lilac. So we've got those 2 colors. So you guys let me know in the chat, which do you want to see, the Aquamarine or the Baby Royal? And you guys, I'm having a hard time. So you let me know. You like the Aquamarine? Somebody says I do gold for this. We're not doing gold today. We've got Aquamarine or we've got Baby Royal. Baby Royal, Baby Royal. Baby Royal, okay, you guys are saying Baby Royal. How about let's do this? Somebody says light pink. Light pink was not an option, you guys. Let's go ahead and do Baby Royal with maybe an accent nail on our challenging nail here. So that way you guys get to see both of them. So I'm gonna start with my Baby Royal and I'm gonna tap out a little bit of that excess. Now you guys, I'm gonna show you this really quick. When I'm polishing on my gel polishes, I'll make sure to let your product kind of settle down for just a second if you've maybe shaken it or rolled it or anything. And then I like to take that brush, lift it out and just tap out the top, just to kind of tap out any of that gel polish that might be on the stem. Because if you have, you guys, let me show you this really quick. If you have too much of that gel polish, maybe like I said, if you were shaking it or anything like that, if you just open that right away without wiping off or tapping off any of that gel from up top here, a lot of times, oh, you can see it here. A lot of times what happens is that gel that was up top in here starts to run down the stem, and then it's going to run down into your brush, and then it's going to put a big blob on your nail. So that's why when I lift my brush out, I tap off the stem, and then I wipe out the back side of my brush. So that way I'm not going to have an excessive amount of product. I am going to have product on the front side of the brush, and that's what I'm going to use to polish onto my nail. So again, tap out the top part, wipe out the back side. Now, if you guys were with us here on Monday, we did an application using just our air dry polishes. And with an air dry polish, you really have to do 3 strokes. So 1, 2, 3. Now, with a gel polish, that kind of goes out the window. So if you need to, you can go back through and you can kind of touch things up or make sure that they're nice and smooth. And then, you guys, one thing I forgot to grab here, I'm going to try to not smudge up my nails here. This is our Polish Perfector brush. And I am so in love with this brush, you guys. It is an absolute amazing tool for whether you're working with regular polish or gel polish. But it's a small little brush. You can see there, it's got a little bit of an angle to it. If you look at it from the side view, it's a really skinny brush. So if you do get any gel polish on the skin or on the cuticles, you can come in and you can clean that up right around the edge. Now I think I'm pretty good on that one. I don't think I had any gel polish on the skin. But you do want to make sure that if you get any of that product on the skin, that you do clean that up right away, okay? Don't let that cure on the skin. First of all, it's probably going to lead to lifting issues if you do get that product on the skin because it doesn't get that really nice tight seal to the nail. And then also it's gonna look messy first of all, but then it could also start to lead to contact dermatitis or allergic reactions and things like that. So if you accidentally get any of that gel polish or really any product on the skin, you do want to make sure that you're cleaning that off right away. So that way you don't overexpose yourself, your clients, or whoever you're working on. You don't overexpose their skin to that chemical. Okay. So again, you guys, you can see that when I do my gel polishes, I do kind of go through it a couple of times, and there was a little piece of fuzz on my brush. I just wiped that onto my little art palette here. Now I am keeping an eye on my nails. When I work on myself, it's really hard for me to keep my fingers at a downward angle like this. So as I work, my fingers do kind of angle down this way. I want to keep an eye on these so that my gel polish isn't working its way back into the cuticle. Now, if you do feel like your product may be running or moving a little bit, you can grab the Touch Cure Light and you can just freeze those into place. So as you're working, if you need to, you can freeze that gel into place for maybe just 10 seconds or so. And that way you can set that into place. It's not going to move and you're not going to have to worry about that product running into the cuticle. Okay. So we're going to go through, and again, you guys, I know you can still see just that little bit of that frayed edge there on that one that we put that repair patch on, but I'm not going to worry about that because I'll show you a little trick to fix that when we're all done here. And it's going to be a lot easier to fix that once we're done rather than trying to clean that up at this point. Okay, see there's that little piece of dust in there. Let me grab that, and then I'm just going to wipe that onto my tile. Now you guys, if you feel the need to, you can cap the free edge. A lot of times when I'm doing my gel manicures, I don't waste that time because we've got that protein bond on our nail. It is going to seal the edge of our nail here, of our gel polish to the nail. So I don't worry too much about that. But if you do feel like you need to seal that free edge, you can do that. Now you guys, oh, see, I got a little bit of that product on my skin. I'm going to show you again how to clean that up. But as I'm working around that cuticle, notice that I set my brush down a little ways away from the cuticle, put some pressure on that brush, get it to fan out a little bit, and then I'll pull that brush down the side, down the middle, all the way through. Okay. All right. So again, I'm going to grab my my polish. I can never remember the name of this, Polish Perfector Detail Brush, and I'm going to come right around there to clean up that gel polish from the skin. Now, if you need to, you can grab a little bit of that onto the next polish remover, pump a little bit of that up into the top cup up there, and you can use that if you need to clean up around those edges. But usually with gel polish, I don't have to use the polish remover. It's going to come off the skin with my brush. So we're going to go back into the light one more time, and we're going to cure that for just another 30 seconds. Now, when we're working with the gel polish, 30 seconds is going to freeze our product into place. It's not going to fully cure it. Now, at the end, we are going to have a fully cured nail, but as we're working, each layer is freezing into place for 30 seconds. When we do our second coat, that first coat is going to continue to cure. So it's going to continue to cure all the way for 60 seconds. 60 seconds is a full cure with our ManiQ color. Okay, so you want to make sure that they are fully curing, but 30 seconds is enough to freeze them into place and go on to your next coat. Now with your first coat, oops, you guys, I got a little bit on the skin there. Let me grab that real quick. So when you're working with the gel polish, sometimes your first coat may not look exactly perfect. It may look a little bit streaky or a little bit sheer, and that's okay, because when we do that second coat, it's going to cover and it's going to give you that full coverage all the way through. Oops, had a little bit too much polish on my brush there. So again, we're going to come around those edges. I'm going to just kind of push my skin away on the side here. And we're going to come right down that edge all the way through there. Clean up that little bit off the edge there. All right, so again, 2 coats is going to give us really good coverage. You can see 1 coat covers fairly well. And you guys, you can see this one is the one that had that repair patch on that. You don't see any texture to it, okay? your gel polish, that base coat is really gonna seal that in there. And then when we do our 2 coats of color and our top coat, that's gonna give us a nice smooth finish. And again, you're not gonna be able to see that patch underneath. So getting right up to my cuticle area, pull away, press down all the way through, and just kind of blend that out. And we'll grab our second color here, Baby Royal. Now you guys, you can see there's a couple of my nails that I do still have a little cuticle. Just, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can see that right up there. I may go through with my nipper at the end and clean that up, but I don't need to do that before. And I usually like to wait until the end to clean up those cuticles. So that way, as I'm doing my cleansing, I'm not getting any of that swipe or acetone or polish remover or anything into my skin. So leave those cuticles for the end. And I think we're good there. And we'll do one more here. All right, you guys, what do you think? Do we need a little sparkle? Let me know in the chat if we need a little bit of sparkle on these nails. I want to know if you guys want to see some sparkle today. And you know what, you guys, if you want to see some sparkle, hit that subscribe button too. Let's see how many of you want to stick with us and see some sparkle. So make sure to hit subscribe. Again, we've got our second coat on here. I'm just brushing through to get that to flow nicely together. We're going to go back into our light. We're going to freeze that into place again for 30 seconds. All right, you guys that are saying yes, sparkle. All right, well then the next question of the day is, do you want sparkle on the Aquamarine or do you want sparkle on the Baby Royal? Let me know that. So we got, do we want Aquamarine sparkle or more of a light lavender sparkle? I'm trying to find a couple of different colors here that I think might be fun, but you guys let me know in the chat. Okay, French tips. We are not doing French tips today, you guys. Who said French tips? You guys, y'all are crazy. All right, let's see. Aquamarine, both. Aquamarine, I'm seeing a lot of aquamarines there. Both? Okay, you guys, I'll do one of both. I like to kind of change up my nails a little bit and add a little bit of fun to a lot of them. So I'm gonna grab one of my favorite glitters is called Fame Orbit. So this one is really, really fun, really pretty. And then another one is Shock. So I think Shock, let me check one more color here. Let me see. Maybe we'll do, I don't know, you guys. Should we add in a little pink? Should we add it? All right. Let me know. I Spill It is the pink or Shock is the purple. Which one do you guys want to see on the Baby Royal? Shock or I Spill It? I don't know. You guys let me know. I'll start with Fame Orbit first, but you let me know. So what we have at this point is our gel polish is cured out for the most part. It still has a sticky layer to it, and that last layer hasn't been fully cured. So it does have, like I said, it has that sticky layer to it. So it's got a grip, okay? It's gonna grip onto our glitter. And I'm just gonna grab a little art brush. And you guys, this is just a cheapy little art or a makeup brush, just an eyeshadow brush. So that's what I'm going to use to apply my glitter to the nails. Again, I have that tacky surface to them. They are cured, but they still have a tacky finish to them. All right, you guys, you're saying, I think a lot of you are saying Shock, so you want Shock? Okay, so we'll start with Fame Orbit on our Aquamarine, and then we'll do one nail with Shock over the Baby Royal. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my glitter. I'm going to take my makeup brush here, and you guys make sure that you're using a makeup brush that is just for your nails. Don't use this on your eyes or anything like that. Have a specific one for your nail art. So I'm going to touch my brush into the glitter, kind of load up my brush a little bit, get some of that glitter on there, and I'm going to touch that to the nail. Now I'm not going to keep tapping on that nail because, like I said, this nail does have that tacky surface to it. And if I keep touching that brush to the nail, it's going to start to get that tacky surface kind of gumming up my brush. So what I want to do is I want to go from the glitter to the nail, glitter to the nail, glitter to the nail. That way we're going to put that glitter on to that tacky surface, but we're not going to collect that tacky surface into our brush. Okay, now at this point I have glitter on the whole nail, so I'm going to give that a really good tap down, and at this time I'm not going to get any of that tackiness on my brush. So get that on there, and I'm just going to kind of dust through there just gently to get a little bit of that extra glitter off. Now something I like to do, whoops, is throw things around. You guys, sorry, my little Bob Ross fell off my shelf here. But I'm going to grab my stamping tool, and I like to use my stamping tool at this point because, I don't know, you guys can kind of see, if I look from the side, you can see there's a little bit of texture to that glitter. If I were to just leave that texture like that, I would feel that on the nail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my stamping tool. I'm going to use my stamping tool to really press that glitter down onto the nail. I kind of rock it back and forth across there. Really press that glitter down. So now I'm going to have a much smoother surface. Okay, let me grab my little cleaner here, make sure that my stamping tool, I clean off that glitter from there, because I am going to use this stamping tool again. So we've got our glitter on our first nail, and I think you guys said that you wanted to see shock on my other nails here, so we're going to grab that one. So this is shock. And again, you guys, all of these colors, everything is from Young Nails here. I'm going to tell you, the new packaging that we have is the 1 ounce jars of glitter. I still have some glitter in our old packaging. You guys, glitter doesn't go bad, so it doesn't really have a shelf life. So if you have old packaging, that's okay. But we're going to go with shock. I'm going to clean out my brush a little bit, and we'll just do we'll do that middle finger here. So again, we're going to go from our glitter to the nail, glitter to the nail, glitter to the nail, glitter to the nail. Making sure that I've got good coverage over this whole entire nail. And once we really have that saturated, I'm going to give it just a little bit more of a press down on there, brush off some of that extra. And then again, I'm going to grab my stamping tool. I'm going to roll that right across there to really press that glitter down into that tacky surface. Okay. Now, you guys, I am seeing a little bit of extra glitter down along my sidewalls here. I like brushes that have that little bit of an edge. So if you don't have one like that, grab that same brush that I was using, our Polish Perfector brush. You can use that to clean out that glitter from those sidewalls. You want to make sure that you don't have really buildup of that glitter down in those sidewalls, so that way you have a nice smooth finish around the edges. Same thing over here. I'm going to just clean out those edges really quick. And then what I'm going to do is just go under my light for just a few seconds. Now I could put my nails back into our UV LED light, or I can use that touch cure light, and I'm just going to freeze the glitter into place. So I'm not really fully curing anything, but having that little bit of a tacky layer underneath the glitter that the glitter is really setting down into, that tacky layer is going to cure a little bit more at this point, and it's going to really grip onto those glitters. So that's why I just take a few seconds to kind of freeze that glitter into place before I finish the nails. Okay, now to finish the nails, I'm going to do a couple of different things here. I'm going to grab my base coat. Now I'm going to do an extra coat of base coat on the glitter nails, and that's going to seal in that glitter. Now, you could use your top coat, your ManiQ Top Coat, and do 2 coats of that. Personally, I like to use my base coat to seal these, because just in case I get a little bit of glitter in my brush. Now notice it's not really picking up any of that glitter because I did freeze that glitter into place. But if I get glitter in this brush accidentally, it's a lot easier to hide it on a nail if it's in my base coat rather than on the top coat. So I'm going to do just a quick coat of the base coat to seal in the glitters. And this way, when we do our top coat, we're not going to feel any texture of that glitter. Okay, again, if I need to, if I got anything on the cuticle, on those sidewalls, I can clean that up. we're going to pop these back into our light for another 30-second freeze, just to again set those into place. And then I'll go back in with our ManiQ Top Coat. Okay, now the ManiQ Top Coat, this is going to fully cure for 60 seconds. So I want to make sure that I am going to give that a full 60-second cure. Now, you guys, if you are new to our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you are a regular to our channel, I think you know what time it is. It's Top Coat time. So let's go ahead and again, everybody hit that subscribe button, and then we can start our Top Coat chant in the chat. And if you don't know what the Top Coat chant in the chat is, basically you just start typing Top Coat, Top Coat, Top Coat, or just show us some love in the chat, whatever you feel like doing today. So again, we're going to do one coat of our top coat, and again, just a nice quick easy brush over. So right up to that cuticle, just like I polished the nails before, pressing that brush right down at that cuticle area. Get that brush to fan out a little bit, push up to the cuticle to seal all the way back, down the left side, press up to the cuticle, down the right side, and then pull forward. So we're going to go ahead and top coat all 5 of these at this point. Now notice I didn't do an extra coat on the 2 that are just the solid color. I don't need to. I only did the 2 coats on the ones that had the glitter on it, just to make sure that I don't feel any texture once these nails are done. So going through, finish up my top coat. Again, if you feel like you need to, you can cap that free edge, but I usually don't because again, we have that protein bond all the way through. Ooh, got a little shaky there. Oh, what happened? But yes, we've got that protein bond all the way through that free edge, so we don't have to worry about breaking the seal or anything like that. So good to go there. I am going to put this hand into the light now for a full 60-second cure. I want to make sure that everything is fully cured at this point. And after that, I gotta find this here. So after that, you guys, I had that one nail that did have that little bit of a frayed edge because of the repair patch that we put on. I'm gonna go back through with either my 180 grit file, or, let me find my glass file here, or my glass file. So my 180 file, I would use that first, and then I would flip over and use the buffer side, or I can use that glass file, and the glass file actually gives you a really nice, beautiful, smooth finish on the edge. So you can use either choice, but today I'm going to use my glass file for that. Now, one other thing, when you're working with the ManiQ products, these do have a tacky finish that you do need to cleanse off. So the nail itself is cured, so that top coat is cured, but it is going to have that tacky finish. And instead of using our swipe is what we used to cleanse the natural nails earlier, what I'm going to use now is our ManiQ Cleanser. Okay, ManiQ Cleanser is an acetone-free cleanser. So this is going to be, it's strong enough to cleanse off that tacky surface, but if we did use something that had acetone, like Swipe does, that could actually start to kind of dull out the surface, okay? So we're just going to go through, we're going to cleanse off that tacky finish. Now you guys, as I work through, notice that I put my wipe on the nail and I kind of wipe through here and pull forward. I don't just scrub all the way through that nail. So the reason I don't do that is because that tacky surface is uncured gel. If I push that back up onto the skin, that's actually going to get uncured gel on my skin. So I want to make sure that I'm pulling that forward. Now, halfway through, I usually will fold over my wipe so that I can cleanse that again and get all of that gel off of there. Okay, so again, I want to make sure that I'm not pushing any of that uncured gel back onto my cuticles. Okay, so I might even go through those one more time just to make sure that I've completely cleansed off that tacky surface. And at this point, this is where we would go through, and if you need to, you can touch up any of those free edges. If you need to perfect your shaping at all, you can go ahead and do that. Again, on this one, this is the one that we had that patch on. And sometimes when I do have glitter on the nails, I like to go through and clean up that free edge one more time just to make sure that I don't have any of those little bits of glitter poking off the end or anything like that. So nothing that is going to catch or feel rough at the end. And again, you guys, this glass file works amazing for getting that really nice smooth finish. Okay, so go through, clean those edges up a little bit, touch up your shaping if there's any last little things that you need to perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and check our cuticles, because like I was saying earlier, I did have a couple of spots of my cuticles that I wanted to maybe nip a little bit of a hangnail or anything like that. But that I always leave that until the end, because when you're doing your filing and your cleansing and all those kind of things, sometimes those last little bits of cuticle and hangnails will actually come off. So let me dust these off really quick. I'm going to grab my nipper here. And we'll go ahead and just those last little bits that may be kind of flapping around, or anything that is, I always say, any little piece of skin that's waving at you. If there's a little bit of cuticle that's waving at you, then you can nip that off. But you don't need to go all the way around that whole entire cuticle. Okay, now last couple of steps here. Clean off your glitter. Get a little bit of that extra glitter off of you. Always make sure that you do go through and rehydrate. So I'm going to be using our cuticle oil pen. I'm going to put a little bit of that cuticle oil right up around my cuticles. Now, normally if I were doing this on a client, I would actually have them wash their hands, or what I like to do in salon is use a hot towel. So that way it's going to clean off all of the dust off of their skin, off of around their cuticles. And then I'll put my cuticle oil on, so that way you are actually putting that cuticle oil on and hydrating that skin when it's clean. Somebody's asking, can the glass files be disinfected? Yes, you guys, any of our glass tools, the files, the cuticle pusher, that can be sanitized and disinfected, absolutely. I believe you can put them in an autoclave. I'm going to be honest, I personally haven't tried it, but I'm pretty sure that you can. Okay, and last thing I'm going to do for my manicure today is I'm going to rehydrate my skin with our hand cream. Take a little bit of that. A little bit goes a long way, and I am just going to massage that in, get everything nice and hydrated so my old lady hands don't look so old lady. All right, you guys, what do you think about our gel manicure today? Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you love those colors. I love these colors. I think they are so much fun. And hopefully that helps answer some questions about our nail rescue patches and how to use those with your gel manicures. And you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can continue to join us for our classes. We are usually here Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays on our live stream. We do have a sale happening right now, so if you haven't checked that out, make sure to check that out. We've got some great products on sale for you guys, so don't miss out on that sale. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you guys back next time. Thanks, everybody.